Welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast, brought to you by the Aussie Gridiron Network. It's the Week 8 reaction show, mid-season form. That's what we're in. Brad and I are here to talk about all of it. How you going, Brad?
I am wet, and not in a good way.
What a way to start a podcast. It is raining on the east coast of Australia. I've got some, what can be termed as drizzle. Brad, I looked at the radar because I was playing around on the new Bureau of Meteorology. Jesus Christ, that's some hard words to say at this time of night. Bureau of Meteorology website this week.
Change it back. Change it back. Can you believe all the uproar
I know.
over
I was
that?
playing around on my phone, and I'm going, I don't know what people are talking about because this works just fine. And I happened to scroll up because that's all you need to do now is just slide the window on your phone, and you can go to other areas rather than have to reload other radars. Anyway, and I went all the way to basically where you are in Brisbane. I was like, oh, that's a lot of water. And you've just confirmed that to me.
Yes, it is. And I was just out in it, getting something out of our pool. And so, yeah, like I said, I am wet, but
wet for week 8.
Yes,
that's the theme. I mean, the theme of the week was, of course, Bimageddon, which I guess in a way it was a bit of a Bimageddon, Brad, because holy hell, blowout city this week.
It was. I was out of town and I was trying to watch games. While I was sitting in the spa, I had my laptop propped up on the crapper. I kid you not. It was the strangest setup of any hotel room I've ever been in. But they had this spa that it was like half in the bedroom and half in the bathroom. And so I put the laptop on the crapper and was watching football at 9 a.m. I was thinking, this is the best thing in the world, but the games were just absolute poo. So, yeah. 3
games out of 13 that were played this week, over the whole week, from Friday to today. 3 games, only 3 games where one team didn't reach the 30-point mark, Brad. And there were some blowouts in amongst that. To finish the week off, even with the Chiefs blowing out the Commanders 28-7 today, which is really surprising, to be honest. I thought the Commanders would play way better than they did, but apparently,
yes,
without Jaden Daniels, they are poo, absolute poo.
Yeah, there was a lot of teams that I thought were going to play better, Cowboys, than what they did. Falcons, Cowboys. I mean, yeah, it just was not good football. I think a lot of teams let us down.
Yeah, and it seemed to be one good team, one bad team, and that's what every game seemed to be. It didn't matter where on the table any of those teams fell. It's just how they ended up playing. Even 49ers Texans, the Texans looked good. And they downed the 49ers at home. So, and the 49ers, who are 5-3 now, it just looked woeful for some reason. It just didn't come together. So,
not every week can be, a barn burner and exciting and stuff. But when your best game is Jets Bengals, that's kind of, I think that was pretty indicative of the week and just saying how it went. Congratulations to Aaron Glenn getting his first win.
I was going to mention that game, Brad, actually. The New York Jets had their first win of the season and now officially 1-7, so they can no longer be an undefeated season, a la the Detroit Lions once upon a time. But yes, they finally get it, and they scored 23 points in the fourth quarter to do it, and that was just wild. And Justin Fields absolutely showed this week that Justin Fields is not the problem with that team.
Yeah, I think his consistency may be a little bit like he obviously needs to improve that, but you can't pin it all on
No.
him, not by any stretch of the imagination. And Woody Johnson's an idiot. I'm sorry. But that guy makes Jerry Jones look like just the brain trust. So it's ridiculous. In my opinion, the last thing a QB needs is his owner calling him out. Like that's going to be some type of motivation. It's again, it just goes to show how disconnected some of these owners are and billionaires are to how normal people operate. And, I'm sure he's got all these sycophants around him that just, yes, 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 Mr. Johnson, yes, whatever you say. And, you're so smart. You're right. And obviously the guy is smart. Well, at least he was born into a billionaire family. But come on, man, you don't motivate your players that way. And hats off to Fields for rising to the occasion.
There were some Jets fans online that actually rightly pointed out that every time Willie Johnson has gotten sort of involved and said something dumb about the team or a player, that player will immediately show up the week after and have a ridiculous game and prove him wrong.
Well, yeah,
for Jets fans, they basically just said, so just keep saying dumb shit, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, or in his case, he's probably got such an ego that he'll be like, "Oh yeah, see, I motivate the guys. I'm a master motivator,
masturbator is about all this."
Yeah,
there was some pretty cool. You watch the highlights of these games, and you see like you see the good passes, and you see touchdowns. But there was some pretty cool highlights that came out on X where people find little moments in the game sometimes. And you just see this commentary. There was this pretty cool clip that got shown where the Bengals were going to run a flea flicker play, Brad, and Flacco passes it to Chase Brown, who runs forward towards the line, turns around like he was going to do the flea flicker back to Flacco, realized that Flacco basically had a defender. I think it might have even been who was it?
All over.
Yeah,
him.
I can't remember which one of the guys it was. It might have been Quincy Williams actually, or someone. But he had the defender basically rushing down on him like he was going to actually tackle him. Like he had a offensive lineman between him and them, but he was like in trouble. Chase Brown turns, sees that, holds the ball, and just charges straight back into the line and punches through the line because the line weren't even ready for that to happen, and he ends up like 10 yards down the field.
Love it. That's situational.
Yeah, situational awareness. Like there's this cool shit like that happens every now and then, and you see that sort of stuff. I thought that was really cool out of this game.
Did they ever address it? Like, was it? I'm curious if they said that was a planned play.
No, I don't think they ever did. I think the commentary. I think it might have even been off like a Fox or something like that was doing the comment. Maybe ESPN.
Sure,
might have found it. But they were saying that was definitely. He was definitely going to run a flea flicker there, you could hear him saying that.
Yeah.
So it was definitely, that was what the play was. And you could watch him Chase Brown turn, and his arms went out with the ball like he was going to, and immediately brought it back to his chest and ran through the line.
Love it.
Awareness is great. The Bengals didn't play badly. That was my point here, was, again, Joe Flacco was 21 or 34 for 223 with 2 touchdowns again. Yeah. It just seems like Joe Flacco and the Cincinnati Bengals are a match made in heaven right now.
Yeah, they really are, and it's just it's kind of cool to see in the sense of, okay, here's a guy who gets transferred, mid-season, and who's 40 some odd years old, and he's still got it. It's impressive, no matter how you look at it, what he is doing with that team. And do they have a realistic shot, or probably not, at making the playoffs? But they have a shot. I mean, they're still in it, so anything could happen. And how cool would that be to see him lead them into the playoffs? That would be really.
Would be really cool. At the end of the day, to have that end up happening from where they were, would be really, really cool. So.
Yeah.
Righto. Cool. That's that game. I guess I was going to talk a bit about that because it was the highlight of the week, I guess, 39-38 and the first win for the Jets. You kind of want to celebrate that a little bit. The Jets have been absolutely woeful as a team this season. So hats off to them for
And
getting that.
Yeah, they're my son showed me some clips of them coming off the field and just how excited they were to get that win. And they're not dumb. They know they're not going to the playoffs. They know that they're not going to be any good. But it just goes to show that winning does matter to these guys. They're not playing just for a paycheck. So they do want to win, and so it's cool to see that. And I like Aaron Glenn. I think my hope is that he can turn it around there, and because I mean the world would be an amazing place if you saw Aaron Glenn strutting up and down the sidelines like he did, a couple weeks ago. Could you get any better than seeing like an Aaron Glenn, Dan Campbell, showdown? That would
It
be
would
epic.
be epic. That absolutely would be epic. Yeah, I think it's much better than the Dan Campbell what's he Ben Johnson showdown we had early. What we're going to have now because of the NFC North. Yeah, but
No.
I think the Aaron Glenn one would be much better because I think it was just Ben Johnson was the flashy part of that team, that Lions team, whereas I think Aaron Glenn was like the. If you go on music terms, he was the rhythm section, like that defense and the way it was just the rhythm. It was just there, constant, and it was just the brutality and everything. Whereas Ben Johnson was that lead guitarist,
he's the lead guitarist
that won't shut up.
Yeah, exactly. He's Slash, for those people that are old enough to remember.
So that's musical terms. There we go. You talk about a few others. We've got some reactions here and there from some people once again on the NFL Fans Down Under Facebook group where Isaac chucked the post up for us. He's put together some of these tonight, even though he's not going to be here. He's at work again tonight, so he's put some stuff together for us from that. And
legend.
The post we put up on our socials as well, which is obviously our Instagram page, which you'll find all the links for at linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network. We talked about Bengals already. That was one of them in there from Bobby D. Deal, who basically just said Bengals. But we talked a bit about the Bengals there. We'll probably talk a little bit.
I'm sorry. Just a second. Did you just say Bobby D. Deal?
Bobby D. Deal.
Oh, that name has to be that guy better sell
Bobby
cars
Bobby D. Deals. Come on down to Bobby D. Deals. Bobby D. Deals.
Exactly.
I don't know, can't even go there.
Oh, and he better have a sister named Mary Jo. I mean,
if there is not one of those inflatable wibbly wobbly tube men out the front of his house, then I will be disappointed. Sorry, Bobby D. We're not making fun of you. Obviously, your name is hilarious, and you know that because you have that name. Yes. So we'll let some of these drive our reactions as well. And there have been some reactions that are definitely Isaac's reactions that he put in here about some stuff that's happened. We'll also have a little bit of chat later. Like I said, we'll probably have a bit of a chat about the Bengals because Brad and I might just shoot through a bit of a mid-season checkup now that we are officially at the midpoint in the NFL season, regular season. And we'll just check in on our division predictions that the four of us had and whereabouts we sort of sit and those teams sit and where we thought that they would be. And a couple other questions there as well. So let's go to the next one. Glenn Baker. It's a Panthers-related one, Brad. Bryce is more important to the Panthers than we realise. Hopefully back sooner rather than later. I would absolutely have to agree with that at this point because the Panthers got absolutely walloped by the Bills this week, 40-9, with Andy Dalton at the helm. Dalton threw 16 of 24 for 175. And, if it wasn't for the shining lights on offense and in the Panthers stable, that is Rico Dowdle, I don't think much else would have truly happened. And Ted McMillan, is the other one I meant to mention. Ted McMillan got 99 yards from 7 receptions. And Jalen Coker, the other rookie, is 3 for 36. So they did absolutely amazing. Brad, Rico Dowdle still ended up with 54 yards on this in this game, and he wasn't listed as the main running back. Chuba Hubbard was back, and they basically started Chuba Hubbard again as the RB1. Should this not tell you, the last few weeks, should that not tell the Panthers to put all the chips in the Rico basket?
What do they got to lose? You know what I mean? He's just been running fantastic. Congratulations, Cowboys, for cutting him. But I'm impressed with what they're doing. But they're not wrong in terms of the consequences of losing him. I think that was a lot bigger than what people anticipated. And Young's stats aren't amazing. Like he's statistically, I think PFF has him ranked like 20th out of a potential 37 quarterbacks that have played. So he's not horrible. He's not great. He's middle of the road. But he's been improving, and it just goes to show that he is making a difference on that team, and there is upside to him. So, he's definitely not the bust that people were, what was it, week 2, and then people were saying, "Oh, this guy's career's over," type thing. So, if I'm the Panthers, I just lean into it and lean into the run, lean into Dowdle, try and clock manage and grind games out.
Yeah. Absolutely. We should talk about the Bills in this game as well, because we've got another reaction from a Bills fan, Ricky Richards. He's just said, yeah, the Bills, but Josh Allen still ain't right. Next game going to be a long one for my Bills. Now, the Bills, obviously, in this game against the Panthers 40-9, like I said, Josh Allen was 12 and 19, 163 yards and a touchdown. He wasn't atrocious.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't make some great decisions on some things, but he wasn't atrocious. But let's be real here. This wasn't a Josh Allen game, and it wasn't from the very start. This was James Cook III, my man. 19 carries for 216 yards and 2 tuds on the ground. Just absolutely amazing. A 64-yard run in amongst all that, too, as a long, is huge. 11.4 was his average per carry, Brad.
That's insane. Yeah. That is absolutely insane. 11.4.
It's crazy numbers.
Yeah. And plus, correct me if I'm wrong, he didn't play in the fourth quarter because the game was out of hand.
They scored 20. They scored 16 points in the second quarter and 21 points in the third. It basically did nothing in the fourth quarter. They didn't need to. I mean, they took Josh Allen off the field. Mitch Trubisky ended up at QB. The Bills basically just ran away with it for 3 quarters and then stuck the backups on the field.
Yeah. And hats off to the Bills defense. I think that's the one that surprised me the most, because they ended up sacking Dalton 7 times and they forced him into 3 turnovers. So, congratulations to that defense for showing up. That, a lot of people have some real question marks about them, but they definitely rose to the occasion this weekend.
I mean, they beat up really well on a bad team. And that's what.
Well, a 500 team. Yeah. I mean, they're 4-4.
They're not technically a fully bad team, but they are one of those. I think I've talked about it a couple of times with some other teams lately, that they're very up and down, very bipolar, and you don't know what you're going to get on the day, and that's unfortunate, but that's just how it is. The Bills, man, 5-2 now, absolutely demolished, and of course. Ricky is talking about next week the game against the Chiefs. So that's going to be very important to see just how the Bills are. And they're right, very right to have rested some starters at the end of this game against the Panthers, considering they have the Chiefs next week on Sunday.
Yeah.
So.
Well, it'll be interesting to see how they pull up. I haven't heard anything last couple of days about Ed Oliver, because he left the game with an injury. And so now the Bills are without both of their starting defensive tackles. So, Andy Reid is going to be game planning for that. Yeah.
We just talked about one amazing running back having a ridiculous game. this week. Let's talk about the Eagles and the Giants, and let's talk about Saquon is the GOAT, says Liam Barlow. I don't know whether I agree with just Saquon as the GOAT. Saquon Barkley, 14 carries, 150 yards, and a touchdown on the ground. He got another 24 yards receiving as well. But the tail of the tape here against the Giants, 38-20, the Eagles ran away with this, was the ground game was simply amazing. 276 total yards on the ground from the Philadelphia Eagles this week. They finally found the running game. Tank Bigsby basically took over, again, fourth quarter, or Tank played a bit of a backup role. Tanks definitely don't have arms, but they definitely have legs, Matty C. Tank Bigsby got 104 yards off Saquon Barkley's 150. That's 254 yards between the two of them out of the 276. It's just simply amazing. I'm not sure about Saquon Barkley being the GOAT, though, Brad.
No, he might be goat light, but no, I would not say he is the GOAT at all. You got a little guy named Emmitt Smith in there. Sorry, Manjot, but that's when you're the all-time leader in rushing yards and had the durability that he had. You come talk to me in 10 years. But with all that said, Barkley is amazing. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Barkley, and what he did is phenomenal. It's going to be, I think, the injury is going to be key here in this. Is he truly hurt? Because he said he could play. If it had been a meaningful game, he would have played it through. But, is that injury significant? And then also, let's not get too carried away. It's the Giants. I mean, come on, man. He had a great game. But, man, it's the Giants. They're giving up, I don't know, 290 yards a game to teams. So, it's ridiculous in that sense. But you can't take anything away. He did what he was supposed to do.
He did do what he's supposed to, and yes, it is the Giants, and that's what it is. But I don't know. I expected the Giants. I would have hoped the Giants could have put up a little bit more of a fight in this, a little bit more entertaining. But I think that they got Jackson Dart especially got spooked after that Cam Scatterbo injury. Which was horrific. Of course, Cam Scatterbo now out for the season. He dislocated his ankle, had surgery the day of the game that evening in Philadelphia. So he is out for the rest of the season. I think that injury spooked Jackson Dart some, just sort of losing his main guy, his boo. Just losing Scatterbo in that way, and I think that just spooked him because it all went downhill after that. Essentially, he didn't throw the ball much. Not much happened for the Giants. It really broke them in a way. I didn't think that they were exactly going to run away and try and win on the Eagles, but I thought a more entertaining game could have ensued. And now we kind of miss out on the rest of the season. It would have been Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterbo.
Oh, it would have been awesome. It would have been absolutely awesome. And, it's really unfortunate. You never want to see a player go down because of injury. I do completely agree with you. Just Dart's initial reaction, I think, he's a young guy. And he's probably never seen anything quite so horrific happen right in front of him. And he knows, by all accounts, Scatterbo was kind of like the heart and soul and just kind of the rah-rah guy, but not a fake rah-rah. Like the dudes liked him. So it's going to be a huge, huge loss to the Giants. And but their draft chances improve.
They sure do. Horrendous tackle, by the way. Absolutely disgusting. That was the absolute definition and the video that they should show when the league talks about getting rid of the hip drop tackle, because that was perfect. It was in all sense of the word. It was arms around the waist and letting your legs go so that your full weight of your body brings the player down from behind. That is a hip drop tackle. That is perfect definition. In
It's got to be, if players can't tackle safely, like I know they've tried to regulate, they got to figure out a way to ban
yeah.
that better.
The other big talking point of this game was, of course, the tush push again, Brad. And that's been all over social media. I know you won't see too much of it, but it's in the news everywhere. Is the tush push again because the
Mm.
Giants forced a fumble on a tush push from Philadelphia in this game.
Yeah.
Kayvon Thibodeau, I actually think he had planned to go in and do this exact thing against the Eagles if they ran the tush push. He went around the outside, and when Jalen Hurts reached out, as he usually does, as he gets pushed, is Thibodeau wrapped up the ball and rolled away from him to basically force the fumble. And then the refs
Yeah.
blew the whistle and said that forward progress was halted and it wasn't ruled. So now we've got a situation in the league where people are blowing up because you could clearly see that there was forward progress, but they're saying that there was no forward progress, which means that they definitely can't officiate the tush push properly or consistently or fairly, I think is the other word that a lot of people use, fairly. So
Yeah.
if you can't officiate it fairly and you can't, we've seen all the vision now on in the big games where they have the 4K cameras and they can slow everything down, and you can see that there's all the offsides that originate from it, and there's all this back and forth, and now you're saying that it could possibly be no forward progress. Well, that's pretty much it, isn't it, Brad? You have to get rid of it now, because once you get that much around it, you have to. That's done.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. It's one thing when players can't stop it. It's another thing when refs can't call it. And so, yeah, and all they need is two more votes. And I think there's no doubt that they're going to get those two votes this
I think that's off the back
offseason.
of this. They're going to get that because you can essentially see straight away that the refs can't they can't officiate it.
Yeah, yeah. You won't see anything mid-season, but
No.
it'll get banned.
I think so too. So that was the other big thing out of that game.
Yeah.
Manjot, Jonathan Taylor for MVP.
Hey, that one I'm on board with. I think what that guy has done, what he's doing is phenomenal. It really, really is. So hats off to them. It just seems like every chance they get, he's just making plays, and the whole team is doing it. So congratulations.
This is the third 150 plus yard running back this week, Brad, that we've talked about. 153, 2 touchdowns from 12 carries for Jonathan Taylor. 12.8 per carry, Brad.
See, I thought the 11-yard one earlier was ridiculous. 12 yards.
There's wide receivers that want that kind of average numbers.
Yes. Exactly. So he is having a historic year. The key is going to be longevity. Can he hold up through the whole season doing this? And we've seen Taylor go down with injuries before, but knock on wood, he's holding up great right now. And they got that Daniel Jones has got that offense humming. And it's to me, he is one of the biggest surprises this season, Daniel Jones, and the way he is playing. So hats off to everything that
Daniel Jones is well up there in the MVP conversation as well.
Yeah, he is. Absolutely, he is. So along with some other quarterbacks. So it's crazy.
Hats off to the Tennessee Titans though. In this game, 259 yards passing is probably one of their largest of the season. Cam Ward got 22 of 38 with 259. Now they sacked him 4 times, but that kid just keeps getting back up and just going and going and going. So he just definitely wasn't messing around. I don't know if they're not getting better because there was an abhorrent call in this game from an abhorrent offensive call. I can't remember who the interim head coach is. He called a punt when they were on the Colts 40, and it was 4-2, Brad.
Mike
Right,
McCoy.
McCoy.
Mike
And then
McCoy
the
is there.
subsequent punt
Yeah. Mhm.
the punt went out of the back of the end zone, and on the very next play, Jonathan Taylor scored a touchdown, an 80-yard long touchdown.
See, and then I don't know if you saw any of those touchdowns, but go back and look at them. I saw one of them in particular. The defensive secondary tackling, the effort, I've seen better efforts from, Pee Wee Pop Warner 7-year-olds. It was bad, some of that effort. So they gotta be pretty embarrassed, I think. Just okay, if you miss a tackle, you miss a tackle, fine. But when you're just playing what looks like half speed, 3/4 speed, that's not
Yeah.
acceptable. So it's I really hope Tennessee has some type of a turnaround because I don't want to see Cam Ward become another statistic of just getting beat up so much that it's affected his career. Again, it just kind of gives credence to the fact that these guys, I think, are better off sitting for that first year. I don't care. I just think they're much better off just sitting for a year.
He's still got to have a team to go around him. There's no point.
Yeah,
We've said
yeah.
it. We said it in our draft episodes. There's no point drafting a quarterback if you don't have an offensive line to protect him.
Yeah,
So you've got
absolutely.
to build
Absolutely.
everywhere else before you build with the quarterback. Go out and sign
Yeah.
an aging veteran for a couple of years. Get the best of whatever you can get out of them, and build up
Yep.
the rest of your team, and then aim for a quarterback somewhere else. Don't just jump straight to the quarterback and have nothing else to go around him. Bryce Young is the other example of
Yeah.
that, Brad. We saw that in the last couple of seasons.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. 1,000%. And they're have finally taken steps to improve their line, especially this last offseason, especially the interior of that line. And you're seeing they're a 500 ball team.
Yeah.
It's so had they done that at the beginning, imagine how different Bryce's confidence would be and how the trajectory that everybody would feel
That's right.
around him would be so much more
So sign
positive.
your O line, sign your tight ends, get your wide
Yep.
receivers. Draft guys. Go to free agency, draft guys, build all that sort of stuff first. Build a core, build experience, and then put a young guy behind it all. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's again, Tennessee's going to end up with a great pick this season, and they'll get a good player, but it's not how you want to
No,
build a team.
that's exactly right. Isaac. Isaac was hard on this during the weekend, Brad. Those
Mhm.
Steelers uniforms were absolutely horrendous. Uh, Isaac said, we thought after last week's Chargers uniforms that it couldn't get any worse, but the Steelers said, hold my beer, or rather, hold my picket fence. Can we please punt these uniforms into oblivion and never to return? Brad, I have to agree 1,000%.
Yeah. I mean, it's a picket fence. To me, they look like a road sign. It was bad news. So I didn't mind the helmets. The helmets looked okay. I thought you take just the helmets. I thought it was fine, but on the whole, it looked awful. It's just, yeah. I could not get around it one bit. And I know they were like a 1930s throwback, but I'm sorry. If you can't come out and play good football looking that bad, it's just not possible. It really isn't. We had an old adage, look good, feel good, play good. And so if you're not looking good, you ain't feeling good, and if you're not feeling good, you're not going to play good. So no, whoever chose those uniforms, they need to lose their job.
They need to lose their job, says Brad Cummins. I,
Yeah.
mate, I can't not agree at this point. I was trying to bring up a picture of him, but the internet won't even work because those jerseys are so bad.
Yeah, exactly. They've already scrubbed him from the internet.
Yeah. Well, they're trying to. They're currently trying to scrub
Mhm.
them from the internet. Um,
I'd like to scrub them from my eyeballs. They were that bad.
and here they are in all their glory then. And one, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, he looks bad enough with that ridiculous helmet that he wears. He wears this
Yeah, yeah,
certain type of
yeah.
helmet, which is just I know it's an old school, but what the hell? It looks so bad in this.
Oh, dude, that picture, like friggin' A, man, how long's that guy been on Ozempic?
Last week,
He has
Brad,
sold.
we had the Minions. This is the Minions 2. This is where we're at right now.
Oh, that's seriously. He looks like the main character from on
Do you
Christmas
want to know?
Carol.
Do you want to know
So,
something really awesome, though, Brad? Which
mhm.
one are we on? Which tab? I need to figure it out. Hang on. Open. Oh, Brad, this we get this throwback uniform next week, and the Packers fans decided to pick on everybody because obviously it was Packers Steelers. But we get this Packers throwback uniform next week, Brad.
You've already got. Oh no, no, we
Yes, we
don't.
do.
No, we don't. Are you
No, I'm
joking
not.
me?
Navy blue.
The
The
fo-
Packers are wearing navy blue and brown pants.
the faux
And the
leather
faux leather
helmet.
helmet, yes. The helmet does look pretty cool. I've seen up close pictures of it, and there's like even stitching painted into it and everything. Like it looks pretty cool. But those
Oh, come
jerseys
on,
and
man.
pant combo, like, and Packers fans were
Oh,
on the Steelers constantly during that last game about the fact how bad the Steelers uniforms looked. Yet here we are for next week, Brad.
yeah.
Like,
Well, the good thing about this is like Micah Parsons can shit himself and nobody will know. I mean, it's it's just those are just
they are
bad.
horrendous. I don't know whether we really need to keep doing throwback jerseys, to be honest. If they're that bad, if people can't choose decent ones, then do we need to keep doing it?
I mean, it's going back to the 30s for the Steelers, and well, I don't know if you said the year on that one, but
I
it
didn't look it up,
just
to be honest. I
it,
didn't need to
yeah,
look it up,
that's
bad,
that
Brad, because it's bad. Um,
yeah, 100%.
Pat Surtain Jr. is out for a few weeks. Will G'day Gridiron be much of a step down now with Surtain missing a couple of weeks? One of the best corners in the league is now out, but could the rookie step right in and be just as effective for the Broncos?
Well, they drafted him in the first round, so they had high expectations, but he's only been playing like 25% of their defensive snaps. He has not been able to work himself onto the field, which is not that does not bode well for a corner. So I wonder if it's just Sean Payton being a taskmaster, because Sean Payton he's not a big fan of rookies. So you wonder how much of that is playing into it. But either way, the guy's gonna get playing time, and he needs to step it up. So we'll see. I mean, he can't be any worse than it's number 21 for the Broncos. He had like three pass interference penalties and a couple holding penalties. He was atrocious this last game against the Cowboys. But yeah, it's missing Sertan is going to be a huge blow, no matter
Yeah.
what.
Last thing I wanted to talk about from this weekend just gone. It just came out. So we saw on Thursday Night Football, Carson Wentz did not look good for the Minnesota Vikings. He was playing definitely hurt after
Mm.
every single throw. You could see him wincing and holding on to his left arm, his his bicep area, all that sort of stuff. And
Hmm.
they've been having him play in a kind of like a massive cast or a brace on his left arm. It came out after this week because the Vikings said that he's definitely injured now, and he won't be starting any more games. And it's because he's having surgery on his shoulder during the London game. Before halftime in the London game, Carson Wentz dislocated his shoulder bad enough that he tore his labrum and fractured the socket. And then he played
Oh.
another 2.5 games for the Minnesota Vikings. So he played the rest of that London game, and then he played a couple more games, and just absolutely, I guess, stuck it out and gritted it out through obvious pain. Yeah, just for the Vikings franchise. Of course, Carson Wentz signed in the offseason for a 1-year deal. The Vikings were his childhood team, so he wanted a chance to be able to play for the Minnesota Vikings. I had this feeling all along that this was probably going to be the last foray for Carson Wentz anyway, being able to play for his, his home team, his childhood team, and just to have that opportunity. And he got that opportunity, and then we find out that, yes, the last couple of games did not look good, and we're all on him saying Carson Wentz is done, and he's definitely cooked. But it turns out that he'd been playing very hurt for a few games now, and it's probably a large part of the reason because he couldn't throw, Brad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if people remember, those first 2 games, I thought he played
did play
pretty well.
He did play well. He was 2-4 in 6 games for the Vikings.
Okay. Yeah. So those first 2 games, he plays well. And then I think the injuries started happening. So, and you can tell. But for him to do that, to get that out the way that is, that's insane, dude. That's like next level, injury to be able to do that. Because it's not like you're standing on the park just throwing. You're having to manage the game mentally and do all that stuff, and you're getting hit every play. That's phenomenal. So it makes me though kind of go, okay, well, how bad was JJ's injury? That he couldn't even play this week because the coaching staff had to know that Wentz was that severely hurt. Is this a case of they didn't have trust in JJ, or was his injury that bad? I don't know.
They were saying he's injured and they wanted him to be fully healthy before coming back. Now, obviously Carson Wentz would have had to be getting checked out by the medical staff and would have had to be cleared by medical staff to be able to play. And also wanted to play, because if at any point he said, I feel like I'm too hurt and I don't want to play, then he doesn't play, because you have to respect the wishes of what the player says. You can't force them to do something. That part, I think, is the I want to play for my childhood team, and knowing that it's probably going to be his last season, and just want to do the best for him. But he stuck it out until the point where they said JJ is going to be healthy. Because I think they were going back to McCarthy this week anyway, regardless of what happened last week. That was the plan from last week. It seemed like that. Like he was nearly there, and they're going back to him. It's an insane week to put him back on the park because we're against the Lions. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that Carson Wentz is definitely out now for the rest of the season. He's having surgery, so he's obviously on IR. And the Vikings replaced his roster spot with a tight end, which is interesting as well. Not a quarterback. So we still don't have QB3 on the roster because Max Brosma becomes the QB2 now behind JJ McCarthy. But, hats off to Carson Wentz for what is probably going to be the end of a very great career.
Yeah, I mean, I hope not. Like, I hope he can come back and find some success somewhere. But you're right. I think there is a good chance that this is his swan song. I just would hate to see him go out that way.
All right, Brad, some questions, I guess, from the year so far. So let's start out with something Isaac chucked up there for us, which is, what is the one result that surprised you most this year so far? Is there one game that you've seen the result and it's just knocked your socks off?
That's a really good question. I think, last week's Broncos Giants, that was historic. That was definitely surprising. I think the one that really blew me away though was that Tennessee Arizona game when Tennessee got their first win, just because the manner in which that happened, and granted it was a winless team and everything, but that was so bizarre to me. It was more wild than the game last week. So just the fact that you had so many missed extra points, you had an interception, but then they turned the ball over and it got recovered by the offensive team in the end zone by Tennessee for a touchdown. It was just so many wild course of events. Go back and I challenge anybody to watch that fourth quarter and find a different game that is more exciting or more bizarre than that. I don't think you can do it. So that game, just from a purely what just happened type event, that blew me away.
I think the one for me was actually a couple of weeks ago, the Giants beating the Eagles on Thursday Night Football.
Okay,
Because we're
yep.
talking about the Super Bowl winning Philadelphia Eagles versus the absolute
Yep.
bottom of the league New York Giants last year
Yes.
and this year as well, who were only 2-4 at that point when after that win. So they were only 1-4 coming into that game. And they went out and they laid the heat on the Philadelphia Eagles offensively and defensively. Jackson Dart threw like nearly 200 yards, and Scatterbo got nearly 100 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I think that they just came out and they dominated the Eagles in every way, and the Eagles had no answer for them. That's the one that really sticks out to me, just because of the juxtaposition between how good a team the Eagles are or can be and the Giants.
Yes.
Because we know what the Giants are. And it just showed that it showed the faith of Jackson Dart, like going to the Jackson Dart. It showed the right choice in drafting Cam Scatterbo, and it's all those sort of things. And it just showed that you can, any given Sunday, I guess, Brad, is
Yeah, absolutely. So no, it's the NFL is wild, and
it's what's so good to watch, so good to follow.
Unless it's week 8. Other than that,
Surprise player of the year, Brad.
man, there's
Daniel
so many.
Jones. That's it for me. Daniel Jones. It's not such a big surprise to me because I had that belief being a mid-level quarterback like lover. But
right.
I knew he could play. I knew that I had that belief and that hope that there was no way that this kid could be so good in college, get drafted so high in the league, and then just be absolutely terrible. It had to be coaching staff. And I kept saying, we'd seen it time and time again. He went away from that. He fought his ass off. He got that opportunity in Colts, fought his ass off in preseason to become the week 1 starter. And then from that point onwards, there has been absolutely no looking back. There was no way Anthony Richardson was getting those Rays back.
It's just, so 71% completion percentage, over 2,000 yards, 13 touchdowns, 4 rushing touchdowns. The team is 7-1. The dude has done everything and more that you could possibly ask from him. And I think you put in him, Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, it's phenomenal what these guys are doing. Even Mac Jones, in the sense of just resurrecting. I'm not talking about like MVP, best player of the year with Mac Jones, but just the way those guys have resurrected their careers. It's just, it's pretty cool to see. But I would say Jones is definitely the biggest surprise, simply because we're talking about him as an MVP. When we thought, really, before this season, we thought, okay, at best, he's going to be a backup.
Yep. Yeah. 4th in yards thrown, 7th in touchdowns thrown. Quarterback rating, he ends up at number 5. It's just QBR. He's number 2 if you take it on QBR. It's a phenomenal season. Completion percentage, that's the other big one. That's the one I went to look for. He is 5th on completion percentage in the league. And there's some dumb names up there in terms of completion percentage, by the way. Drake May is at the top.
Yeah, yeah. That's it. May is playing phenomenal as well. I think he's showing the fact that he is legitimate quarterback. He's elite, and man, it ticks me off that the Patriots get another great
Yeah, I know.
quarterback.
1 year as a bad team, and suddenly they're good again.
Yeah, yeah, exactly,
Biggest
exactly.
disappointment player of the year. Ooh, biggest disappointment of the year, Brad. How about we just do that? Because I don't like being negative about players completely. Biggest
Right.
disappointment,
Yeah, I
player
would.
or team or otherwise.
Yeah, I'm a little bit with you. I prefer to stay away from individual players unless it's obvious. But I would say it's got to be the Ravens. The Ravens have just imploded,
Yeah,
and they're yeah, I know they won this week, and they're getting their defense back, um, and so they're looking healthy. But so far, at this point, the biggest disappointment has to be the Ravens.
absolutely, Brad. I think that's a great call. It was. I think you probably could put the Bengals in that case at some point as well. But the Bengals have actually looked half
Mm.
decent even when they've lost games. But the
Yeah,
Ravens have just looked
yeah,
woeful, and at
they
two and
have.
five now. So that's yes, I would have to agree with you there, Brad.
Yeah, they just really, really pedestrian, and of course, they'll most likely beat the Dolphins this week. In the Thursday night game, and people will start to get back on the train and ramping up, especially if Lamar plays, which they're projecting him to. But it's just
Well, again, they're two and
uh,
five now, and they got a win this week, so they would have been
they do.
they were 1-5 coming into the week, which is horrendous.
Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
they got a win this week, and it was a half decent win, and they went back to what they should have done all along, and trusted the ground game in terms of um, Henry, and did what they're supposed to do without Lamar on the pitch. But yeah, Ravens. I agree, Brad.
Mm.
Ravens. Thanks, Isaac. Best and worst divisions in the league. This is a good lead in
Ooh.
to our mid-season checkup, Brad. Best and worst divisions in the league. Let's have a bit of a look. Who would you say would be the best division in the league, the most interesting division in the league right now?
Um, I think that that's AFC West. I think is fascinating with the Broncos 6-2, Chargers 5-3, Chiefs 5-3. You still got three teams all within one game and they're all good teams. They can do something. So and again, I find the
NFC
NFC
West
West.
was what
So
I was
both
going to mention because of the Seahawks, Rams, and
okay.
49ers are all of 5-win teams.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Right.
but
Right.
are they the best in the league? I don't know because the 49ers are probably the one that sticks out there as a sore thumb there. They got 5 wins, but we keep talking about them like, what happened to the 49ers? Oh, look, the 49ers did something, but what happened to the 49ers? That's
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
and the Rams
Well,
is
and they've
how
got
long can McVay's play calling make up for the injuries? That's just
hmm
wild. The fact that they keep it. Talk about the best coach in the league, where you can just take any single roster and still win. Um, it's just amazing. I really wanted to say NFC North, but it's been pedestrian. Even
yeah, it
that's probably
has.
the biggest
It
disappointment.
has.
Yeah, actually. So it's not the worst in the league,
Yeah.
but that's one of the biggest disappointing
Right.
divisions in the league because it was touted last year was sensational in terms of the number of wins and the way that the NFC North was made
Mm.
up of, and it's just fallen flat. Even the
Yeah.
even though the Packers are at 5-1 and the Lions are at 5-2 in that division, and everybody's still in it. To be honest, the Bears are 4-3 and the Vikings at 3-4. Um, the games just none of the games have looked good, like across
Yeah.
as a whole.
Yeah. No, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's, and who are the Packers? Are they the good Packers that we've seen, or the very pedestrian Packers? So, I mean, Micah Parsons is playing pretty elite level. Thanks, Jerry. and so what he's doing, he's in that MVP conversation. I think it's Miles Garrett to lose, at least defensive player of
Yeah,
the year, I think. But who are the Packers? And overall, they've been disappointing.
yeah, I think they have been too. We should have talked about that. Should have been a talking point. I'm disappointed in Browns fans. The fact that no one put a reaction up about that game. To be honest,
Mm,
or
mm.
just the fact that, and I just want to mention it real quick, is that Miles Garrett got 6 sacks. 6.
Unreal.
Miles Garrett got
Unreal.
6 sacks in the
Yeah.
game. It's just insane. 5 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, or 5 sacks, 5 tackles for loss. Officially, 5 QB hits. Insane, absolutely insane. Drake May got sacked 6 times though, and still got his ass back up and ended up throwing 282 and 3 touchdowns. So that guy is again, Brad. Bloody Patriots get an absolute warrior once again.
Yeah. Abs- Absolutely. What more can you say about it? But he's balling.
He is balling. Let's just have a quick look. I will share.
Worst division?
I don't know, Brad. Worst division? Did you find a worst division?
I think so. I think it's the AFC North. I think when you've got the Steelers winning the division at 4-3, Bengals 3-5, Ravens 2-5, Browns
Yep.
2-6. But you look at their net points. So points for versus points against. No team in that division has a positive net points. They're all just getting
Yep.
pumped. The best is the Steelers, who have 0. So they've scored 175 and they've given up 175. And I know it's a rudimentary stat, points for, points against, but it is an indicator. And, Bengals -79, Ravens -36, Browns -58. So they're a crappy
You
division.
want to use that rudimentary stat? Best in the league on points difference. Indianapolis Colts +116.
There you go.
Second place on points difference. +67. New England Patriots. The Colts are nearly double second place in terms of points difference.
That's crazy, man. That is wild. What's the Titans on that stat?
-120.
I'd be curious. 120. Oh, that's bad.
It is bad.
That is really,
And they are 100%
really
the worst
bad.
in the league on points difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Saints are just above them on 81, -81.
There you go.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. So like I said, it is a rudimentary stat, but it's a good indicator. So it is still a real
it
stat.
is still a real stat, Brad. You are right. It is very much a real stat.
Yeah.
And, you have to use it at some point.
Mm.
Let's set up a screen here and let's see if we talk about that one. Let's just have a look at how we did as or how we're doing as a group this season from our predictions.
Oh, this could
It
be
could be
scary.
scary. Let's see if this brings this up for me. I'll just see if I can do it properly. I can successfully share something.
Yeah.
So
All right. Uh-huh.
let's have a look at our AFC predictions to start with. Oh no, let's run down the AFC first. So we all had the Bills at 1. I think we had mixed reactions for where the Patriots were going. Like I had 2, Brad, you had 3, Isaac had 2, Nick had 2. And I think we all pretty much had the Jets at the bottom or the Dolphins at the bottom. But currently, New England sitting at the top 6-2 with Bills in second place. How do you reckon that's going to keep playing out, Brad? Do you think we're going to see that play out that way? We might see the Patriots actually win this division?
I don't think so. I think when it comes down to it, Buffalo's experience is going to come through. I think Vrabel is doing a great job. No, nothing negative against him. I just think Buffalo they're that veteran team. They know what it's going to take. I think Drake May still has a little bit of learning room. He's playing phenomenal, no doubt about that. But he just doesn't have the experience that Josh Allen has.
Sure. All right, so let's look at AFC North. We all had the Ravens at 1, basically the Bengals at 2, the Steelers at 3, Browns at 4. So far, Pittsburgh at 1, as we said, Bengals at 2, Ravens at 3, and the Browns at 4. So we're all correct about the Browns. But at this rate, that they could probably beat the Ravens if the Ravens don't pick their act up, which is something we just talked about.
Yeah, I think you'll see Baltimore improve, and things will start to right themselves. I think Baltimore will end up winning that division.
AFC West, we all had the Chiefs at 1. Had the Chargers around 2. Who's that? Is that me? That is me. I had the Chiefs at. I didn't have the Chiefs at. I had the Chiefs at 2. I had the Broncos at 1. The Chargers at 3, and the Raiders at 4, which we all had. Raiders 100% at 4. Who had the Broncos at 1? Oh, I did. That's right. And the Broncos are currently leading at 1. The Chargers at 2. The Chiefs at 3. The way the Chiefs played today, though, I fear we're going to see the Chiefs they're starting to come back, Brad. And I fear we're going to get the Super Bowl Chiefs once again.
They are. And this is Andy Reid. This is what he knows how to do. And he knows these guys, the vets, when it comes down to the last, second half of the season, that's when your money is earned. And I think these guys Andy's going to have them rocking and rolling. And as long as they can stay healthy, they're going to do it.
Houston Texans, we all had it 1 for the AFC South, I didn't again. I had them at 3. You guys had the Jags at 2. We had the Colts around 3. We sort of disagreed a lot on the Colts, and the Titans all basically down the bottom. Currently, the Colts are in 1. Who someone have? I had the Colts at 2. The Jags are in 2 right now. The Texans in 3, and the Tennessee Titans obviously in 4th. AFC South was like the second worst division in football last season, arguably. And now with the Colts doing so well and Jacksonville actually being interesting to watch, it just seems like they've just come right up, Brad.
Yeah. It's fascinating just how things are playing out, and I think the biggest disappointment is probably Houston.
How do you think that's going to play out between the Jags and the Texans, Brad?
The way the Jags are not looking as impressive as what I'd hoped. And again, it kind of goes back to, I think they're the junior version of the Packers. And who are they? Are they because they put together a couple good teams, but as much as I want Trevor Lawrence to do well, and I think it's beyond a lot of stuff outside his control, he's just making some simple errors. His accuracy is just not that good. And he's got to get that under control in order for them to take the next step.
Absolutely. Interestingly, when you look at the standings from ESPN that we've got there, the Colts at 7-1 have totally beaten up on their own conference so far. 6-0 in their conference standings.
Mm-hmm.
So 6 of their 7 wins so far have come from conference.
Yeah, when you're significantly better than your conference, that's a huge factor. And it'll be interesting to see when they get outside their conference how they start playing, because like you said, they've had a lot of conference games.
Brad, you had the Eagles at 2 in the NFC East and the Commanders at 1. The rest of us had the Eagles sort of at 1. Oh, Isaac had it too.
Mm.
We all sort of agreed a bit more Cowboys at 3, except for Isaac, and we all definitely agreed that the Giants were going to be at 4. So far, it's sort of playing out the way we thought, where it's a 3-horse race between the Eagles, the Cowboys, and the Commanders. I know the Eagles are at 6 and 2, and they are starting to run away with the division a little more, but they haven't played a lot of
Mm.
division games yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think their team is so talented. The Cowboys' defense looks so woeful, so bad. 2 weeks ago, week 7, they actually looked good, and I thought, okay, maybe we're turning things around here. And I had them picked as an upset over the Broncos, but no, they just they could not stop a thing. So, yeah, I think it's Phillies to lose. They're just going to run away with it, in my
Yeah,
opinion.
yeah. NFC North, we talked a little bit about being one of the most disappointing ones so far this season. Um, Mixed reactions, sort of between 1 and 3 on the Vikings. Packers at 2, where Nick had them at 1. The Lions, we sort of all thought that they regress a bit, and the Bears we all thought would be at the bottom. So far, it's the Vikings at the bottom and the Bears at 3. So we're sort of fighting for third spot there with the Bears. And the Packers and Lions are going to be fighting for first spot in that division, it would seem.
Yeah, again, I just not a huge surprise in that one.
No. Uh, NFC South, that this was traditionally and has been for the last few years the worst division in football.
Yeah. Yep.
Apart from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season, I think it still is one of the worst divisions in football. The Bucks are the only shining light. As you said earlier, the Panthers are a 500 team now and looking a lot better. The the Falcons, God knows what the Falcons are doing, because
Oof.
I said it a few weeks ago where I don't trust them. I definitely don't trust the Falcons now, and I don't know how I can going forward. Um, and the Saints, the poor old Saints, man. It's not. It's just not coming together for them. They're trying hard, and they're still trying to win games, and that's pretty clear. Yeah, and they've scored
Mm-hmm.
153. Well, they're actually no. What are they? 128. So they scored 128 versus their 209 against. But yeah, man, I don't know. At this stage, I think it's Tampa Bay's to lose.
Absolutely. And unless Baker gets hurt, I think they're going to win that regardless. And the Falcons, to me, are the biggest disappointment, just because one week they look great, one week they look absolutely pedestrian. Penix is now he's dealing with some injuries stuff, so who knows what's going to happen there. And yeah, the only thing I would love is if you saw. Um, uh, Backup quarterback, lead him,
Oh, Cousins.
back into
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins. Thank you. If you saw Cousins lead him into the division win, that would be. I don't want him to beat Tampa because Tampa deserves it, but I would love to see them just have Cousins kind of have a redemption story and be the one that improves them and turns them
yeah.
around.
Uh, well, so far I've picked that division correctly. So
Nice.
happy to just do that. Uh, um, NFC West, the last one to speak about. We were so mixed on the West. All of us were on
We
NFC
were.
West. We were all over the shop. It was
We
probably one
were.
of our most contentious divisions, to be honest, apart from NFC South, actually, because you guys just did not believe me on some stuff, and I had to stick fast to it. But we're all over the shop. But the overall consensus was the Rams at 1, the 49ers at 2, and then mixed between the Seahawks and the Cardinals at 3 and 4. Now, currently, as we said, Seahawks, Rams, 49ers are all 5-win teams, and the Cardinals are 2 and 5.
Yeah, this is like I said, it's a it's a wild division. Everybody's so close. I mean, realistically, Arizona could still come back. They're not going to, but they could come back and win it. And I just think if San Francisco, unless they get, incredibly healthy, I don't see them being able to sustain it for for the
Yeah.
season. I think it's going to come down to Seattle and the Rams, and I think the Rams are just that much better.
Yeah, Brad, I have to agree. I think it does come down against them, against those two teams. I disagree with you a little bit on that. I think the Rams are a little bit better, but I think the Seahawks are more well-rounded, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Um,
No, no, it
yeah,
does.
I think the Rams are a really good. They're a good. How do I do it? They're a good offense. And they're a really good defense. But I think if you were taking, if you sort of had to grade the offenses and defenses of both teams, I think the Seahawks are more even keel. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
it's just, and I think that works a little bit better for this division. Because I think the Seahawks can step up when they need to, when they will need to against the Rams to get the tiebreakers. Yeah, versus the way the Rams are, and the Rams again, they're dealing with a lot of injury, and that's a hard thing to overcome sometimes towards the end of a season.
Well, and I feel like I feel like the Rams are playing at their peak. Like they don't have much more of a ceiling. Whereas I feel like Seattle is still ascending. They still have a lot higher of a ceiling. It's just a fact, can they get there? And they're a younger team. They're still developing. And I said at the beginning of the year, I loved what they were doing on offense, and it's starting to show just the creativity and everything like that. So yeah, you bring up a good
Yep.
point.
We're looking ahead to week 9 now. So we move ahead to week 9. We're passing the halfway point of the season. We've got 4 more teams on bye in the upcoming week. We've got the Browns, the Jets, thank God. The Eagles and the Bucks are all on bye. We've got Ravens, Dolphins for Thursday night football this week, Brad. Just quickly, we're all thinking that the Ravens are going to have another get-right game against the Dolphins, but the Dolphins put out a pretty good win in week 8 as well. So they could give them a bit of a run for money and maybe be a surprise for this game.
Yeah, they could. I think it'll be a little bit closer than what people think. I think the line's what 5.5, 6.5. And for me, I would pick the Ravens to win, but the Dolphins to cover. So I do think that they're gonna be in the fight because both teams are
Yeah,
desperate.
7.5 now, Brad.
7.5.
7.5,
Definitely.
49.5 for the total. Yeah. The Ravens are obviously heavy favorites in this, but I just don't know. It's the Dolphins at home, and as we said, I mean Lamar Jackson's supposed to be back, so that's going to be a big saving grace for the Ravens, and that could make all the difference that they need to really get right. And get another win on the board and save their season. Because Brad, honestly, I think if the Ravens don't win against the Dolphins here, then you can start kissing the season goodbye, essentially, because it's going to be a long hill to climb back up from 2-6.
Yeah, I don't think there's ever been a game that has mattered more than between two win
Yeah.
teams. This is huge. We can't understate the significance of this. The Dolphins for Mike McDaniel and the Raven. I don't want to say Ravens for Harbaugh just yet, but just in terms of at least their division and winning aspirations and that type of thing. This is a big game.
It certainly is. It is a big game. So it's going to be a very interesting one on Thursday night. There are some very interesting games actually this week coming up. Times move ahead a bit more too, Brad. 5 a.m. games. Oh boy. The early window is 5 a.m., which means, you can, when you're an early riser like I am, you can still get up and you can get up like an hour earlier and just watch some football or the start of some games and then go to work. That's amazing to me.
Yeah.
excited
Yes.
about that. I'll tell you that right now. Um,
5 o'clock is much better than
it
3 o'clock.
certainly is. It's much better than 4 as well, because even that's a slog.
Yep. Yep.
So that's going to be fun. And we've got one singular Monday night football game this week as well. Thank God. Praise the scheduling gods. Although it is the Cardinals and the Cowboys. So there's that.
Yeah, exactly. There totally is that. Although I think it should be a good game. In terms of, I think they're both pretty fairly evenly matched
Yep.
teams. But you're right. It's a 2-5 team versus
But what
a
there
3-4 team.
there is a lot of games to pick from for our games we want to watch this week when we get to our preview show on Saturday. The boys and I should have absolutely no trouble picking 4 games to bring to you for the games we want to watch this week. So look out for that on Saturday. That's going to be in your feeds on hopefully on Saturday morning if I get it done early enough. So just keep an eye out for that. Hit up the linktree /Aussie Gridiron Network to get all the links to all the socials and all the other stuff on the AGN network. And of course, once again, as we always say, if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple, haven't watched it on YouTube, please head to YouTube, search for us, Aussie Gridiron Network or G'day Gridiron. Get on there and subscribe to the channel and like and comment on some videos there. That would be amazing. Thanks, Brad. Great chat.
Absolutely, it's fantastic time, and we're out over the hump and heading home.
Love a hump day. Love a good hump day. All right. Well, I'll see you later in the week, Brad, and we'll see everyone else. See you later.